What's up, everyone? Today we're going to be talking about virtual reality and porn and what the future holds. So, if you guys don't know, there's this thing called Oculus Rift that's been buzzing in the news for the last few years, and it's been picking up pace because, first off, it's virtual reality. It's basically these goggles that you strap over your eyes, and they're working out the kinks, and it's still like really bulky and weird, kind of like the first cell phones invented that were like this big. So it's kind of clunky, but it's something that will change the game for everything. And it's getting a lot more press these days because there's a lot of these viral videos going out of people using them and starting to incorporate the first prototypes of virtual reality for them. And they've already got games, they've got porn, they've got all sorts of things for this virtual reality. And it's a game changer. And the first thing I want to say is that this is going to happen whether or not Oculus Rift is the big player in this, or if some other company comes out and does this. The direction is already there. The potential is already there. People will want it. It's just a matter of who will get to that point first where they can sell this at a reasonable price and deliver it at a quality level of technology. And I think it's kind of ridiculous because it's going to be here whether you like it or not. And recently, Complex, they did 2 videos that got millions upon millions of views of people using this device, elders and young people, and they were using it to watch porn, and it was like watching them see. They're pretty much seeing how well these people, how they would react to this, and basically they all sort of just, they were shocked at how somewhat realistic it was. It was still very clunky, and it was kind of two-dimensional because apparently what they did was they used some like normally shot porn films, and they just made it somehow incorporated into the virtual reality device. So it wasn't shot with a virtual reality video camera, which is what kind of needs to be done, because if you do it this clunky way, what ends up happening is it's not real virtual reality. Whereas if you turn backwards, you do a 180 degrees turn, it's just black down there. So it's really just like a somewhat like two-dimensional space in front of you, but everything behind you is like broken up. But it's still kind of virtual reality because it like encompasses your full eyes. And if you move up and look up, you only see what's up there, and then when you look down, you see what's going on down there. So it's kind of like, it's quite interesting. And then there's already virtual reality games in place where you can literally walk around and stuff. And I think this is hella interesting. It's very, very interesting because this is going to happen one day. Whether it's 100 or 10 years in the future, it's going to happen. And it may not be Oculus Rift that makes it happen, although Oculus Rift has the huge lead right now with all its manufacturing for this device, and recently being acquired by Facebook, so it has a lot more money to use on this. But it is a huge game changer in terms of video games, in terms of all sorts of virtual reality, in terms of the porn industry and all this other stuff. Now that may not necessarily be good, but it's, the device in itself is a technological advancement that's going to happen whether or not you want it to or not. If it's not Oculus Rift, some other company will realize the money behind this and do it. And I'm just very, very excited about what the future will hold for technology and stuff. Like, the more and more I think about it, the more I realize how we're just at the beginning cusp of exponential technological innovation beyond our wildest imaginations. And I feel like a lot of the things in sci-fi virtual reality being one of them, will come into fruition. Maybe not exactly how they were portrayed in sci-fi films like iRobot, but it will happen to a certain extent. And I think that it's ridiculously amazing. Like, if you know the human civilization is going to last for the next 1,000 years, and we're gonna keep progressing, and unless everything gets destroyed or there's this huge nuclear war that destroys all our records and stuff and just prevents us from progressing, it's like it's gonna happen. And if you look 100, 1,000, 10,000 years into the future, it's like I don't even know what's gonna be out there. It's just gonna be something mind blowing. Like everything that's going on now, it's like nothing compared to what's gonna happen, and that's just like makes me very, very excited. And at the same time, it's kind of like, well, I'm probably gonna be dead before any of it's gonna happen. And it's funny because when I tell other people about how amazing things are gonna be, this isn't something I've just you know discovered. It's like I've been telling people about this for a while. Some of them are just like, well, I'm going to be dead anyways. And it's like, it's kind of true, but it's like, it kind of sucks that you won't be there to experience the ridiculousness of what's to come. But it's like, I still can't help but marvel and be excited about what's going to happen. Like, even in our lifetimes, the amount of technological innovation, if you live 50 years, it's going to blow your mind. And I really do think like that's ridiculous in itself, because it's like, that's only 50 years. Whether or not you are going to die or not, the next 100, 1,000, 10,000 years, it's going to bring so many ridiculous stuff. And I mean, who knows? Hovercrafts, spacecrafts, virtual reality, video games that blow your mind, pornography that's too realistic, films that films can start incorporating this at home, and that's gonna blow your mind. There could be interactive films, interactive video games like Pokemon, where you're literally standing on top of a serpent or Dragonair as it's launching into the air or flying into the air. It's going to be ridiculous. But I do think, there could be too much euphoria and over eagerness to get this going. And there's a good chance that it could be, the expectations are going to, overburden what's deliverable in the next 10 years. And so, what I'm trying to say by this is that it's, it may not happen in the next 10 years, but it will happen to the point where it's just eerily realistic. And as far as, those obstacles with stuff like, virtual reality, it can only get so realistic, or even videos or animation or films. Forget virtual reality, just films and animation and stuff, or high definition videos. It can only get so realistic. And I think that's true to a certain extent. It'll never be as realistic as how we perceive reality to be. But again, maybe 10,000 or 1,000 years out, I can eat my words. That's a long time for technology to progress. And if you just look at the last 50 years, we went from riding horses to freaking trains that travel at 300 miles per hour to airplanes flying in the sky. 1,000 years, 10,000 years, 100,000 years, if we're still around, it will blow your mind. Imagine a civilization or a alien species who is able to progress or be 100,000 years ahead of us. They're on some high level shit that